This is the plaintiff, Abayomi Akinle. He says he brought a car to the defendant for simple oil change, and his engine was ruined. When he brought it to the defendant, his car was perfectly fine. He now has a blown engine, and it's all the defendant's fault. He's suing for $4,230.64, the amount he needs to put in a new engine. This is the defendant, Rich Intel. He says the plaintiff's trying to blame him for the blown engine on a car that's almost 16 years old. That's right, he changed the oil and the filter, and now the plaintiff's saying he made a mistake and that's why the engine blew. Well, he's done his research, has done everything by the book, and simply owes this man nothing. He's accused of blowing it with a customer.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff brought his car to the defendant for repairs and says when he got it back, the engine was blown. But the defendant says the car's 16 years old, so give me a break. It's the case of your repair shop blows.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Akinle, you are suing NYTF Discount Outlet Incorporated and New York Tire Factory Incorporated?
Correct.
For $4,230.64 in repairs that you say you had to do to your vehicle because they did an oil change and put in the wrong filter. And according to you, that made your engine blow, correct? What happened?
Well, on August 18th, I took my car to the establishment. It's a place I've been to before. It was kind of busy in there. You know, finally I was able to speak to the general manager. They brought my car in. The guy did the oil job, and as soon as I come out the shop, I get down about 3 to 4 blocks, and the engine started making a loud noise. I didn't know what it was initially, so I turned it off. I wait maybe 10, 15 minutes. I figured maybe the oil has to settle or something.
No, loud noises are not good. There's no good reason for a loud noise. So then what did you do?
Finally, I turned the engine back on, and the noise, it sounded even worse. It sounded like there was a jackhammer underneath my hood.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not oil settling in. So what'd you do?
So I bring the car back to the place, to the establishment, and I spoke to the general manager. And even then, he sort of acknowledged that somehow, some way they messed up. Because the guy was saying, how can I make this right by you, et cetera, et cetera. Then he goes as far as to say, you know, a new engine is going to cost you around $1,200.
Wait, I'm sorry. So in 4 blocks, your engine blew?
Yeah, basically.
All right, and you brought it right back. And then they tell you who is it you speak to?
I believe it's the
general manager. Do you see the person
manager
on that side of the?
No.
Okay. So you speak to somebody who you think is the general manager. You remember his name?
David.
David. Is David here?
No, David's
do you have a Dave?
He's no longer with us.
He's no longer with you?
Correct.
Okay. Because of this?
No.
Okay. All right. So, and David, according to you, seems to be acknowledging that by saying, how can we make this right? Which could also be just a way of calming up somebody. I don't know. But anyway, so what happened?
So the guy was telling me that a new engine is going to cost around $1,200, et cetera, et cetera. And I tell him, look, you guys botched an oil job. What makes you think I'm going to trust you with an engine job? So I had to end up getting my car towed from that establishment to my mechanic. But
if you have another mechanic, why were you having stuff done with them?
It was just an oil job. It was nothing mechanical.
All right, so you towed the car to the mechanic, and who's the mechanic?
This man right here.
Okay, come on up. What do you do for a living?
I do mechanical work. I work on cars. I do security. Do a couple things.
You do security?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are you what we call an alley mechanic, or are you a mechanic full-time?
Well, in between.
Okay, go ahead.
So first thing I do, I pull the dipstick out. Dipstick got gooey. The oil and the water mixed. Okay, I put the stick back in. I goes into the bottom of it. Look at the filter. So I took the number off the filter, and I called to the parts store to ask what is the actual filter for the car. The filter doesn't even match.
So you've concluded that based on what somebody told you on the phone? Is that right?
And then I went to the parts store myself and actually looked on the computer with the person.
Okay.
And
do you have the printout from the computer?
Yes.
Okay.
We have it here. That filter, that oil filter that was installed on the car from the gentleman's over here's company, that's like a generic version of an oil filter. The size doesn't even match.
Okay. You apparently you took some video of the things you're saying, correct?
Yes,
correct.
All right. Is that the noise of the engine?
Yeah. I actually cranked the car up, and I actually did a full inspection of the car. That's the motor tapping because of the oil and the water's mixing, and that's the dipstick. Check the oil. You hear it? Now it goes into the bottom of it, and they go to oil filter. It's not the right one.
Why is it not the right one?
Because it's smaller.
Okay.
It's not the
Let
correct.
me hear from you.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to defer to Patrick, but I just want to say one thing. Full fabrication. Okay? Nothing that I just heard is exactly what happened. And I'm going to allow Patrick to tell the story.
Let me hear from you.
All right, for starters, I've been in the lube industry for about over 15 years.
In the what industry?
The lube industry.
Lube
Working
industry.
in the lube shops, quick lubes.
Yep.
I've been using the same brand filters that we use at New York Tire Factory for about
What's the brand?
Mighty.
Okay, how do you find out which filter, whether it's generic or the one made by Chrysler?
We get catalogs, up-to-date catalogs, filter books that we look up the oil filters, and I have it right here.
Okay, and what does your catalog say this car, which is a 2000 Chrysler 300?
3600. The Chrysler 300s, I know what he's talking about. They used to call for a bigger filter. They narrowed all the filters down now. They crossed it from using a 4670 to 3600s. There's no more 4670s. Those big filters, they don't make them no more. They all make 3600s. And those are compatible for all Chryslers.
Okay, so you say it is, and you say it's not, and I need you both to show me what you've got that says it is and it's not.
This says it right here. If you look,
so, but what do you think happened? Because the guy says he walked in for an oil change and the car was fine, and then he walked out of an oil change and the car was not.
The car came in initially for an oil change. I was on the far bay. I heard the car coming in because I heard the motor knocking when it came in.
So you're saying it knocked just like that when it came in? You think he's trying to set you up and make you guys pay for a new engine?
I'm not saying that exactly, but I know the car came in for an oil change. So you came in to get an oil change for a reason, thinking that's going to help the knocking go away or the tapping go away.
Yeah, like the kind of guy who thinks that if you you keep driving, maybe the oil will settle and it'll stop making the noise.
All right, so the car, we did the oil change. The car left with the same noise that it came in with. Came back a little while later.
Did that car have that same noise coming in?
No, it didn't have it.
I don't know. So what filter is it supposed to be?
This is the filter that they install on the car.
Okay.
This is the correct filter that goes on the car.
Okay. Let me see both of them.
Different in size.
Okay. Which is the correct size?
The Fram.
Right. Which is the correct size?
It's a 4612.
No, 4612s are for Nissans. You could ask me any.
That's a PH16
give me a car.
right
I'll tell
there.
you the oil filter for a car. That's how long I've been doing this.
So the engine blew right after he got it back. Does the plaintiff have a case?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
You don't know. Why do you say?
I would say he has a case. I mean, if they said it was fixed and it was fixed and he paid for it.
It's a 16-year-old car.
It doesn't matter. If he's paid for a service, it should be taken care of.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
Okay. 2011 Mercedes.
M968.
What model?
I don't know. That's what I thought he was going to ask.
That's an M968.
Possible.
This is what?
That's a PH16.
And according to you, it's a what?
If you cross that, it's a 4670. It comes up, but they don't no longer make 4670 filters.
Okay, but hold on. If I cross that with what?
Cross-reference. Like if you cross-reference in the back of the Mighty book, it'll cross-reference to a 3600.
And what is this?
That's a 3600. That's what goes on there.
And that's what he's saying doesn't go on there.
Yeah, the size of the filter doesn't count. It's the spindle and what's inside.
What's the spindle?
In the middle, where it screws on.
Right, because when I'm looking at these two...
And the gasket lines up, they're the same. If you look at the gaskets, they all line up.
You're right. Can he approach the bench and show you?
Yeah.
They line up fine.
Come on
trust
up.
me.
Come on up. Go up, Patrick. Thank you, sir.
Right here. This is what counts. See how far that goes in? That's the same thread. Same thread. The look of the filter is not what counts. It's what's inside the filter that counts. Mighty used to make the same size filters the same way. What they do, they cut everything down now. What they do, they use a 3600. If you look in the book, if I bring you the book here, anything that's used to call for a 4670 is now a 3600.
Okay, so the book you're showing me is the book for Mighty.
It's the book for Mighty,
which is
correct.
The brand you guys use.
Yes, we do.
And the book for Mighty says that the 2300M Chrysler takes a 3600, which is exactly what is here.
That's not even a real filter. That's a generic version of the real filters.
No, that's not true. I got
This is
That's their stuff.
Okay, stop. You can't say this is a pretend filter. It exists. And according to its manufacturer, it's exactly the one for that car. You are showing me, or Judge, it's not, by showing me a page that I can, it's kind of hard to read, but this is, are you listening to me? Yeah. But this is, what brand is that number? Because that's also not what you put on it. So what exactly is that? Is that in Fran? Is this Fran's book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, at the top of the page, they have all different names of the all filters at the top.
Okay, well, do they have Mighty's name there?
No.
Okay, then they don't. Then you don't know that he used the wrong Mighty filter. So based on what I'm listening to, my verdict in this case is for the defendants.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's get a little more from the plaintiff here coming out of the courtroom on the losing end, obviously, of this case here. What's going around in your mind there?
I know. It's a shame. She really didn't listen, and it just wasn't my day. Justice wasn't served, but, you know, they'll get theirs one day.
Well, you just weren't able to prove that that was the wrong filter there.
She didn't want to really listen. Kept cutting me off, but, you know, everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm. All right, head around the corner this way with the equipment there. Yeah. All right, step on in here and did you feel like you were heard?
Yes, we were heard. We won. We did nothing wrong.
What's his complaint here?
His complaint is that his engine blew and it was not our problem.
You think he's just trying to hit you up for an engine?
What do you think?
More than likely, yeah.
Don't ask me any questions. Let me ask him something. 2008 Jeep.
2008 Jeep, 3600.
I go with that.
Harvey?
Kurt, these cases are determined by experts. The plaintiff's quasi-expert was no match for the defendant.